Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1989 comedy classic, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, starring Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, George Carlin. It's an all-star cast. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week on the B Movie Club we discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the past. I guess because we couldn't discuss them if they were from the future, could we? Unless we stole Bill and Ted's phone booth. Hey! You can go ahead and reach us on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, gives the big thumbs up. Also go to our page on YouTube, that's KD9575, hit the subscribe button, it's totally free. And you can also follow me on Twitter at The B Movie Club. Don't forget to spread the word, tell all your friends, neighbors, and enemies, won't you? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. In this movie, Bill and Ted are high school seniors in San Dimas, California, who are about to flunk out of school because they are slackers, I guess. But it all comes down to their history final, okay? Because they've bombed out all year, their history professor is saying, you got one more chance. You have to ace this history presentation at the end of the year. If you do that, you'd pass. You'd fail it. That's a big problem, evidently. Because, and here it is, if they fail the history assignment, Ted's mean father is going to send him away to military school. So their band, their would-be band, Wild Stallions, will be no more. Now, this doesn't sound like much of a problem considering Bill and Ted cannot really play instruments or sing or write music. But here's the thing. Hundreds of years in the future, the entire society upon which the world is based upon the music of the band Wild Stallions. Now, granted, in the 80s, they're trying to become kind of a Van Halen-ish band with a little heavy metal thing going on there. Somewhere within the next 300 years or so, their music becomes kind of an easy listening world music sort of thing. I don't know what happens. Tastes change, I guess. So anyway, if the band breaks up because they fail the history test, then society as we know it hundreds of years in the future will be doomed. So, realizing this is what's going to happen, the people from the future send their man Rufus, played by George Carlin, back to the present day in the late 80s to help them pass their assignment. Essentially, he appears in a phone booth and he says, you can use this phone booth to help you pass the history. He doesn't really give them a whole lot of guidance. Gives them like a phone book. Dial these numbers, you go to different historical places, and maybe in some way that will help you. So the first thing they do is they go back in time and they see Napoleon in one of his many battles. They accidentally take him back to the present day with them, and that gives them an idea, hey, we'll just kidnap historical figures and we'll just shove them into our presentation and we'll pass. So they leave Napoleon behind with Ted's little brother, Deacon, and they go through history. They grab Billy the Kid, they go grab Socrates, who they call Socrates. Then from there they grab Genghis Khan, Joan of Arc, they grab Sigmund Freud, they grab Beethoven, they grab Abraham Lincoln, and they're just shoehorning these guys into this phone booth. Meanwhile, Napoleon has given little brother Deacon the slip because Deacon basically just ditches him. So now they have to find Napoleon as well because they can't just leave him roaming the streets in San Dimas. So while they're looking for Napoleon, they bring the rest of the historical figures to the local mall because I guess part of the assignment is, how do you think these historical figures would feel about modern day San Dimas, California? So there you have it. So of course the historical figures run roughshod through the mall, causing ruckus. You know, they get arrested. Bill and Ted have difficulty finding Napoleon until they realize where would Napoleon go in San Dimas. He would go to the water park. Waterloo. There you go, Napoleon's Waterloo. Hey. So they find him there going down water slides. They grab him. They manage to rescue the historical figures from the jail because Ted's dad is actually the captain of the jail, and they steal his keys and they're able to free the historical figures. They show up just in time to do the presentation, which has morphed from here are a bunch of historical figures, just throwing them on stage, to now it's like there's like a laser show. It's a multimedia presentation with music and lights and fog machines and the whole deal. So they pass. The band stays together. They even grab a couple of historical babes from medieval England, and hey, all is right with the world. So there you have it. This movie was originally filmed in 1987, but the De Laurentiis company that was actually producing it and bankrolling it went out of business. Another company came and bought the film and went ahead and released it a couple years later. So made in 87, actually came out in 89. So there you go. Even though they talk constantly about taking place in San Dimas, and they actually show a scene from Raging Waters in San Dimas, the movie was actually filmed in the greater Phoenix area in Arizona. So all the scenes are from the local high school there, excuse me, local mall there, and with the exception of the establishing shot of Raging Waters, all the water park scenes were filmed there as well. It's all very strange. Originally, Bill and Ted's were supposed to be kind of a Beavis and Butthead kind of guys, like basically losers. They talk the way they talk, but, you know, not very popular, and the popular kids hated them, in fact. But the moment you cast Keanu Reeves and to a much lesser extent Alex Winter, they kind of changed the character to make them kind of, you know, dorks, but kind of lovable dorks, popular dorks, that sort of thing. Pauly Shore was actually considered for the role of Ted at one point. So there you go. Before they decided to go with Keanu Reeves, who at this point was a relative unknown. Alex Winter had already been in The Lost Boys. Hey, he played one of the vampires who gets staked. Spoiler alert. So they cast them. Originally they had them reading for their opposite roles. I don't know if it matters at the end of the day which actor played which, because the characters are very similar. The only difference is that I guess Bill has a hot young stepmom, and Ted has got the mean father, that sort of thing. Other than that, it doesn't matter. Really? Bill, Ted, whatever. A couple years later, they released a sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which people felt was kind of a rehashing of some of the same old stuff. What are you going to do? They also released 2 TV series that were spin-offs. One was a cartoon, one was a live action. Neither one went a whole lot. Went too far, I should say. And there was a video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is commonly considered one of the worst video games of all time. It's very sad. More recently, there's talk of a third Bill and Ted's movie coming out. Keanu Reeves is in, which is kind of surprising. Alex Winter is also in, which is not surprising at all. There's a script, they're ready to go, but it's uncertain as to whether or not they'll actually proceed. The character of Rufus was originally written as like a 20-year-old college student from the future who comes back and helps them. And then they went to a totally different direction. They were trying to get like Sean Connery to play the role. And then when they decided to go with George Carlin, it was like, it's perfect. Especially considering that Rufus is literally in 5 minutes of this movie. When they go to the future and they meet what are considered the most important people in the world in the future, like, I don't know, the presidents or the kings or whatever the heck they are, you see it's like Clarence Clemens, as you recognize from the E Street Band. There's a woman and a man next to him. It's actually the lead singer of the Motels, Martha Davis, and lead singer of the Tubes, whose name just jumped out of my mind. So they're all kind of musically minded people. So there you go. So that was kind of an interesting thing there. I mean, but let's be honest, it's not like you picked like Paul McCartney or Mick Jagger or whoever were the most important people of the future. So there you have it. Good times. I had not watched this movie in 20 years. I remember seeing it in the theater and thinking it was hilarious. It is still very fun. Obviously, the Ted character, played by Keanu Reeves, it kind of defined how people looked at Keanu for years and years. They thought he was just Ted. So much so that a few years later, in Parenthood, the movie, he played a character named Todd, who's basically this exact same character. He's been fighting against it for years after that, but it's fun. It's very nostalgic. It's very late 80s period. It's really not a knee slapper. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sit there rolling in the aisles, but it's definitely fun. If you haven't seen it in a while, I highly recommend it, checking it out. If you've never seen it before and you want a little snapshot on late 80s culture, maybe this is it. Who's to say? Another thing. The writers, the guys who wrote the original script, also make a little cameo as the guys serving the big bowl of ice cream to Napoleon when they go to the ice cream shop, who were singing the Ziggy Piggy theme song. Those are the writers. And they actually also have a cameo in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So if you care about such things, there's that. This movie currently has an 81% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so there you have it. I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. If you think it's going to be a laugh riot, you're probably a little mistaken. It's more of just fun than funny. So there you have it. Another little crazy cameo that you'll see. Jane Wiedlin from the Go-Go's plays Joan of Arc. She's a little actress in the 80s. She popped up. She's also in Clue. What do you do? So there you have that. Next week, I'm moving away from the comedy genre, right into the horror genre. We're doing Anaconda with the all-star cast of Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, Jon Voight, Owen Wilson, Eric Stoltz. There's an anaconda in it. You know, I've been in kind of an anaconda kind of mood since Sharknado came out. Any of those wild monster movies where it's like nature gone wild, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? My anaconda don't want none. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's Sir Mix-a-Lot. It really has nothing to do with this. So there you have it. That's next week. So check it out. You can go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. You can go to our page on YouTube, KD9575. Subscribe. It's totally free. And follow me on Twitter at The B Movie Club. Don't forget to spread the word, won't you? As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Hey, there it is. Thank you for joining us. I could have said, party on, dude, or be excellent to each other, but I did not. So there you have it. That is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Go to our pages, check us out, send me any of your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, or questions, any movie suggestions, and I might just talk about them on the show. Thank you for joining us. Next week, Anaconda. Be well.